Well, so it goes, J.R. Isidore thought as he stood clutching a soft cube of margarine. Maybe she'll change her mind about letting me call her Pris. And possibly if I can pick up a can of pre-war vegetables about dinner too. But maybe she doesn't know how to cook. He thought suddenly, okay, I can do it. I'll fix dinner for both of us, and I'll how, show her how so she can do it in the future if she wants. She'll probably want to once I show her how. As near as I can make out, most women, even young ones like her, like to cook. It's an instinct. Ascending the darkened stairs, returned to his own apartment. She's really out of touch, he thought, as he donned his white work uniform. Even if he hurried, he'd be late to work, and Mr. Sloat would be angry. But so what? For instance, she never heard of Buster Friendly, and that's impossible. Buster is the most important human being alive, except, of course, for Wilbur Mercer. But Mercer, reflected, isn't a human being. He evidently is an archetypal entity from the stars superimposed on our culture by a cosmic template. At least that's what I've heard people say. And that's what Mr. Sloat says, for instance, and Hannibal Sloat would know. Odd that she isn't consistent about her own name, he pondered. She may need help. Can I give her any help? He asked himself. A special chicken head. What do I know? I can't marry, I can't emigrate, and the dust will eventually kill me. I have nothing to offer. Dressed and ready to go, he left his apartment and ascended to the roof where his battered-used hover car lay parked. An hour later, in the company truck, he had picked up the first malfunctioning animal for the day, an electric cat. It lay in the plastic dust-proof carrying cage in the rear of the truck and panted erratically. You'd almost think it was real, Isidore observed as he headed back to the Van Ness Pet Hospital, the carefully misnamed little enterprise which barely existed in the tough competitive field of false animal repair. The cat in his travail groaned. Wow, Isidore said to himself, it really sounds as if it's dying. Maybe its 10-year battery has shorted, and all its circuits are systematically burning out. A major job. Milt Bro of Van Ness Pet Hospital's repairman would have his hands full, and I didn't give the owner an estimate. Isidore realized gloomily. The guy simply thrust the cat at me, said it had begun failing during the night, and then I guess he took off for work. Anyhow, all of a sudden, the momentary verbal exchange had ceased. The cat's owner had gone roaring up into the sky in his custom new model handsome hovercar, and the man constituted a new customer. To the cat, Isidore said, can you hang on until we reach the shop? The cat continued to wheeze. I'll recharge you while we're en route, Isidore decided. He dropped the truck toward the nearest available roof, and there, temporarily parked with the motor running, crawled into the back of the truck, opened the plastic dust-proof carrying cage, which, in conjunction with his own white suit and the name of the truck, created a total impression of a true animal vet picking up a true animal. The electric mechanism within its compelling, authentic style, gray pelt gurgled and blew bubbles. Its voluminous glassy, its metal jaw locking together. This had always amazed him. These diseased circuits built into false animals, a construct which he now held on his lap, had been put together in such a fashion that when a primary component misfired, the whole thing appeared not broken but organically ill. It would have fooled me, Isidore said to himself as he groped within the Ursta's stomach full for the concealed control panel, quite small in this variety of false animal, plus the quick charge battery terminals he could find neither, nor could he search very long. The mechanism had almost failed. If it does consist of a short, he reflected, which is busy burning out circuits, then maybe I should try to detach one of the battery cables. The mechanism will shut down, but no harm will be done, and then in the shop, Milt can charge it back up. Deftly, he ran his fingers along the pseudo-bony spine. The cables should be here. Damn expert workmanship, so absolutely perfect an imitation. Cables not apparent even under close scrutiny. Must be a wheelwright and carpenter product. They cost more, but look what good work they do. He gave up. The false cat had ceased functioning, so evidently short, if that's what ailed the thing, had finished off the power supply and the basic drivetrain. That'll run into money, he thought pessimistically. Well, the guy evidently had been getting the 3 times yearly preventive cleaning and lubricating, which made all the difference. Maybe this would teach the owner the hard way. Crawling back in the driver's seat, he put the wheel into climb position, buzzed up into the air once more, and resumed his flight back to the repair shop. Anyhow, he no longer had to listen to the nerve-wracking wheezing of the construct. He could relax. Funny, even though I know actually it's fake, the sound of a false animal burning out its drivetrain and power supply ties my stomach in knots. I wish, he thought painfully, that I could get another job. If I hadn't failed that IQ test, I wouldn't be reduced to this ignominious task, with its attendant emotional byproducts. On the other hand, the synthetic sufferings of false animals didn't bother Milt, Borogrov, or their boss Hannibal Slow, so maybe it's I, John Isidore said to himself. Maybe when you deteriorate back down the ladder of evolution, as I have, when you sink into the tomb world slaw of being a special, well, best to abandon that line of inquiry. Nothing depressed him more than the moments in which he contrasted his current mental powers with what he had formerly possessed. Every day he declined in sagacity and vigor, he and thousands of other specialists throughout Terra, all of them moving toward the ash heap, turning into living kipple. For company, he clicked on the truck's radio and turned the Buster-friendly show, which, like the TV's version, continued 23 unbroken warm hours a day, the additional 1 hour being a religious sign-off, 10 minutes of silence, and then religious sign-off. Glad to have you on the show again, Buster-friendly was saying. Let's see, Amanda. It's been 2 whole days since we visited with you. Starting on any new picks, dear? Well, I views going to do a pick yesterday, but Val, they wanted us to 7 a.m. Buster Friendly broke in. Yes, that's right. Booster, it's views 7, hey hum. Amanda Werner laughed her famous laugh, nearly as imitated as Buster's. Amanda Werner and several other elegant, conically breasted foreign ladies from unspecified, vaguely defined countries, plus a few bucolic so-called humorists, comprised Buster's perpetual core of repeats. Women like Amanda Werner never made movies, never appeared in plays, lived out their queer, beautiful lives as guests on Buster's unending show. Appearing, Isidore had once calculated as much as 70 hours a week. How did Buster Friendly find the time to tape both his odd and vid shows, Isidore wondered, and how did Amanda Werner find time to guest every other day, month after year, and how did they keep talking? They never repeated themselves, not so far as he could determine. Their remarks, always witty, always new, weren't rehearsed. Amanda's hair glowed, her eyes glinted, her teeth shone. She never ran down, never became tired, never found herself at a loss as to clever retort to Buster's bang-bang string of quips, jokes, and sharp observations. The Buster Friendly show telecast and broadcast all over Earth via satellite, also poured down on the emigrants of colony planets. Practice transmissions being too proximate had been attempted in case human colonization extended that far. Had the Solander 3 reached its destination, the travelers aboard would have found the Buster Friendly show awaiting them and they would have been glad. But something about Buster Friendly irritated John Isidore. One thing in subtle, almost inconspicuous ways. Buster ridiculed the empathy box, not once but many times. He was in fact doing it right now. No rocks, nix on me, Buster prattled away to Amanda Werner. If I'm going up the side of a mountain, I want a couple of bottles of Budweiser beer along. The studio audience laughed, and Isidore heard a sprinkling of hand claps. I'll reveal my carefully documented expose from up there. That expose coming exactly 10 hours from now. Und mean to the link, Amanda gushed. Tech me with you. I got along ventrode rock as protect you. Again the audience howled, and Jost Isidore felt baffled. An impotent rage seeped into the back of his neck. Why did Buster Friendly always chip away at Mercerism? No one else seemed bothered by it. Even the UN approved, and the American Soviet police had publicly stated that Mercerism reduced crime by making citizens more concerned about the plight of their neighbors. Mankind needs more empathy, Titus Corning, the UN Secretary General, had declared several times. Maybe Buster is jealous, Isidore conjectured. Sure, that would explain it. He and Wilbur Mercer are in competition, but what for? Our minds? Isidore decided they're fighting for control of our psychic selves, the empathy box on one hand, Buster's guffaws and off-cuff jibes on the other. I'll have to tell Hannibal Sloat that, he decided, and ask him if it's true. He'll know.